What up to all my hype beasts and all my wrestling fans out there? You already know who it is. It's your boy back with another AEW review. All right. So, this was All Out weekend. Um those of you who are new to AEW or new to this channel, whatever, don't know about AEW, All Out is kind of, well, at least I thought All Out was kind of like the WrestleMania for AEW. Going back a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever, um, some guys from ROH slash New Japan decided to put their money together, rent out the Sears Center that seated 10,000 people, and put on an indie show. They called the indie show All In, right? A lot of wrestling observers and journalists said that an indie show could never sell 10,000 seats. They sold 10,000 seats in 30 minutes. It was kind of the first of its kind in the wrestling industry, and it started the idea that ended up becoming AEW. Now, I believe ROH has the copyright on All In, so the next year they changed it to All Out or whatever the case may be. Either way you look at it, it's kind of the big deal for AEW. At least I thought it was. Now, so far this year, we had Revolution and then we had Double or Nothing, right? In my opinion, both were more, big time than this All Out. So that kind of is a little weird, but hey, not really that big of a deal. I don't really understand. They kind of downplayed All Out this year when All Out is supposed to be kind of the big cheese, right? So does that mean Full Gear is going to become the big cheese? Or does that mean it's going to be a Double or Nothing since it kind of runs close to WrestleMania? I don't know. Anyway, it was All Out. We started off with Dr. Britt Baker versus Big Swole. Now, this was a little cinematic match in a dental office. I thought this was, honestly, I thought this was going to be some nonsense. But this was actually really cool. The ladies represented in this match. All the punches looked stiff. It looked good. At one point, Britt Baker did a DDT on Big Swole on top of a golf cart. That looked good. That looked brutal. They threw Reba in the trash. I mean, this was just a funny thing. At one point, Britt Baker, unless it was fake somehow, she took a syringe needle in the leg. She tried to inject Big Swole with Novocaine and ended up stabbing herself with a syringe. And did Big Swole put her to sleep with some sleeping gas or whatever. I thought this was done well. This was a cinematic match. I hear it's because Dr. Britt Baker might not fully be healed yet. Whatever the case for it, man, I'm not mad at this match, man. I thought the ladies really represented well with this match. So I'll give this match 5 out of 5, man, to be honest. I really did like that. Next, we had the Casino Battle Royal. We had 21 guys. I thought this was going to be corny. Because, their casino matches sometimes are kind of, a little hokey or whatever. This was actually good, though. I like the way it was set up. And I like the finish. And I liked a lot of the spots. Everything with Brian Cage was golden. Everything with Lance Archer was gold. Darby Allin had a quicker exit than I thought he would. But him and Ricky Starks are going to obviously continue their feud. I thought Shawn Spears was actually going to have a more important role in this match. He came in, he delayed outside the ring for a while. He really didn't do much. So that was kind of surprising. Will Hobbs. So Will Hobbs was in there. It was kind of weird because these guys are like, a lot of the some important names in AEW, and Will Hobbs was in there. So I was like, why did they just throw a jobber in there? Because Will Hobbs has been jobbing on Dark or whatever. But I guess because he's a big dude, I guess they got plans for him. Because he eliminated someone As soon as I saw him, and he eliminated the Blade. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like another jobber. He eliminated like someone who AEW's actively pushing. You know what I mean? And he actually had some good spots with Brian Cage. He had some good spots with Lance Archer. He had a lot of camera time. He did good in this match. Obviously, I was wondering what they're gonna do with all these guys on Dark, who they just have losing match after match after match. Now we finally see one of these guys is getting some kind of push. Looks like to be on Dynamite, and I mean he's the guy, man. Him and Brian Cage would do a good program while they're getting Brian Cage ready for someone else, because they're both about the same size. You know what I mean? So I loved it. I like the finish. Lance Archer looked really dominant. Uh, so did, and it didn't take anything away from Brian Cage, because the way they got eliminated was kind of like a flukish. You know what I mean? So I like this match too. I give this one 4 out of 5. We had Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. That I'm not sure what was going on with this match. Um, it was a very nasty bump. It was a poorly thought out plan. They jumped off of some kind of like hydraulic lift. Sammy Guevara speared Matt Hardy off the lift, right? There was a table. There was one table, one single table, no padding underneath or nothing. There was just one single table there. So he spears them. They fall through the table, but the table didn't even break the fall that much, and it's concrete underneath the table. So Matt Hardy, you see his head actually kind of bounce off the concrete. That was very, very ugly. You know what I mean? I was worried about, like, what are we about to see? You know what I mean? I hope he doesn't start bleeding or something. Like even if that had gone right, it still would have gone wrong, because there wasn't enough. It was just one table. The hydraulic lift was kind of high. It was pretty high, and it's concrete underneath. So what was the plan there? That's why I don't understand. What was the plan? Like, that looks like that happened how it was supposed to go. That the table wasn't gonna break that fall enough for that not to be bad. So anyway, that was bad. They were kind of stalling. It was like they didn't know what to do for a couple seconds. Like, oh, do we try to continue this? Do we call it? The match literally was like 20 seconds, and then it even began kind of bad too, because I saw what they were trying to do with Sammy Guevara coming out with the golf cart. I thought that was fun, because we all remember the legendary golf cart moment. But then it was slow, and then I give this match 1 out of 5, man. It was tough. It was tough, and then the ending of the match, they just kind of climbed up these little poles, and then obviously they just tried to do something to get to the finish. They climbed up. I don't even know what that was. It was some kind of thing that was stacked, but they climbed up all these poles, and then Matt Hardy put some weak punch. I didn't even see the punch at first. I just thought like Sammy Guevara fell until like a little gimmicked table stage thing, and it broke, and then it was stupid. 1 out of 5 for Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy after all the build that they did for that. So that was bad. Then we had Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks. Now this was a good match, but I didn't need to see it. You know what I mean? Because this match was kind of pointless, and it wasn't like a pay-per-view type match. They didn't even have a feud brewing. However, it was a good match. It had some good spots and stuff like that. The Young Bucks turning heel, so that's cool. I give this one. I'll give it 3. I won't say 2.5, but I'll give it 3 stars, just because it was a good match, but it was pointless. And then there was no build to it, so it was kind of like a match that could have been on Dynamite, to be honest. So I'll give that 2.5 stars. Next, we had Dark Order versus Matt Cardona, Scorpio Sky, Dustin Rhodes, and QT Marshall. Once again, this was a good match. But this one of these 4-on-4 matches or whatever. It's another one that could have been on Dynamite. It was cool. Dark Order was gonna win. Cole Cabana. I'm so tired. I'm starting to get tired of this Cole Cabana Dark Order thing. I wanted him to be fully engaged in the Dark Order. and I thought he was gonna be like a high lieutenant for the Dark Order, come out cutting promos and stuff on people or whatever, because he can talk and all that stuff. I hate the way he still wears the little goofy boom boom stuff, except now it's black and purple, and then he's just kind of confused, and I don't know. I don't know. I would love to see him like fully be engaged with the Dark Order and stuff, but we'll see. Anyway, um, Brody Lee hits his finisher on who did he hit his on Dustin, and then he tries to give Boom Boom the easy victory. Boom tries to do a moonsault off the top rope, fail, loss. You know what I mean? And then finally, Brody Lee goes off on Colt Cabana. So they're still building that storyline, but you know, once again, that's something that could have been on Dark. This is All Out. You know what I mean? This is your WrestleMania. This is your big pay per view. At least I thought so. Maybe they're not trying to make this their legendary pay per view anymore. I don't know. But anyway, that match another 3 stars. It was okay. 2.5 stars. Same thing as the other one. Could have been on Dynamite. Next we had Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy on the Mimosa Mayhem match. I like this match. This was very fun. I liked a lot of the near falls inside the mimosas. This was just cool. Orange Cassidy hit his orange punch. They call that Superman punch the orange punch. I haven't noticed them call it that before. I actually think that's really cool. And I thought this match was cool. This was just a fun match. It was a gimmicky match, but it was a fun match. So I'll give this a 4. We had the tag team. There was a lot going on in this. I still didn't really like the storytelling, though. This was just like, it wasn't like the Young Bucks match. This was just a ground and pound. This was just a very physical looking match. I liked it. It was cool. The finish ended up being Hangman and Kenny Omega. But it was kind of stupid because they were supposed to do their V-trigger clothesline combo thing that they do, right? Since when you do that, does Kenny Omega hold the person from behind? You know what I mean? So it didn't make any sense. Like, that's not how they do the move. So anyway, they're doing it. Cash Wheeler escapes, and Kenny Omega doesn't get the clothesline. Then they try to do it again. Hangman gets behind Cash Wheeler, holds him while Kenny Omega tries to do the V-trigger, and then he catches Hangman with the V-trigger. And then he was mad at Hangman after, even though he couldn't break up the pin. I understand he's going to the cleaner, and I'm happy about that because I think he's going to be the guy who's going to take the belt off of Moxley, maybe at Full Gear, and I would love that. But, I mean, once again, this was kind of like the storytelling, not the storytelling, the little the extracurriculars at the end. He let Hangman didn't do anything to him. You know what I mean? I guess it's just the fact that they lost. So he's just like, all right, I'm done with you or whatever. It was a little silly. It was a little silly. I thought they could have told the story a little bit better. But hey, as long as we're getting from point A to point B, that's all that works. But I like this match though. This was 4. This was 4 out of 5 to me. It was very physical, man. Like it looked like they were really pounding each other in there. So I like that. Then we had the Women's Championship, Thunder Rosa versus Hikaru Shida. Thunder Rosa got out all her stuff. She literally got out all the offense that she had. And, man, she's a good wrestler, man. We just saw her, I think it was on Dynamite or was it on Dark this week versus a jobber but a good jobber because both of those ladies could wrestle their butts off. So I like this match. It looked like Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa had offense though almost the whole match. She was just really kicking the crap out of Hikaru Shida until at the end Hikaru Shida started getting her offense and then she ended up being able to put it away. So Hikaru Shida retains, and that was cool. I really liked that match. That was a really good. The women really represented on this AEW. The cinematic match was good, and then the wrestling match between Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa was also really good. So the women really, I'll give this one a 5 too, because I really like that as well. Then we had John versus MJF. Now this was cool, but with this, man, I have to be honest. I didn't really believe that MJF could come away with it. The more this story, it started off so hot with MJF cutting that killer promo. That promo was absolute fire. The presidential promo, the original one. But as this feud has gone along, you believe just less and less in MJF. Uh, which he'll be fine going forward. You know what I mean? Um, he's a big threat. He's definitely a main eventer. But I didn't really when I going into this match, I didn't believe that he was gonna win. And then watching this match, the way they kind of put it together, I really didn't ever really buy in that he could potentially beat Mox. So that was unfortunate. It was still a good match, but yeah. So I'll give that match a 4. It was a good main event and all that stuff. It's just I couldn't buy in because I didn't really believe. I knew that by the time we got to this pay-per-view and this match, I didn't believe that MJF was going to take the belt off of Moxley, especially after he beat Brody Lee, after he beat Bryan, after he beat all these guys. I didn't believe MJF was going to be the guy to take the belt off of him. So it's what it is. This was good. It was entertaining. It was a good pay-per-view or whatever. But when I think of All Out, man, I just think of the pay-per-view of the year, the biggest pay-per-view. And this by far was like the worst one so far. Even though it was good, but Double or Nothing was outstanding. Revolution was outstanding this year. Like, I absolutely loved both of those pay-per-views. Now, this one, I liked it. It was cool. There was 2 matches that I thought belonged on Dynamite. And then there was some of the storytelling on after some of the matches was just, could have been better. It wasn't All Out standards. By All Out standards, All Out is supposed to be the best thing that AEW has for that year. So they're supposed to build the best feuds, the best storytelling, the best everything, the best matches or whatever. And it really just wasn't. It wasn't better than Double or Nothing, not close, and it wasn't better than Revolution, not close. But that being said, it was good. It was some good wrestling. It was good. It was good. I rock with it. I don't regret getting it. So the next one is Full Gear. I think Full Gear is in December. I'm personally hoping for Mox versus Kenny Omega because next up we got Archer versus Mox, and that's another thing. They had Archer win the Casino Battle Royal, and it's kind of pointless because Archer was number 1 ranked anyway. He hasn't lost since Cody. You know what I mean? So what's the point of having him? They could have easily had somebody else win the Casino match because Archer was gonna get his next title shot anyway. And then, so I thought that was odd too. But hey, that's the way they want. That's the way they want to do it. So it is what it is. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section about All Out. Was it your favorite pay-per-view of the year from AEW? What did you think about it? What do you think about the matches? Let me know down below. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? See you next time.